13 years ago, my chronic disease, ulcerative colitis, emerged. In 1 year, abruptly, I needed to step down as a prime minister. Back then, I caused the massive troubles to the public. And then we had a new drug, and I was ready. I was healthy. With the support of the public, once again, I decided to take on the significant responsibility as a prime minister. During 8 years, I controlled my chronic disease without any issues. I kept on focusing on my job as a prime minister on a daily basis. I put all out effort. However, this year, in June, I had a regular checkup. There was a sign of the disease. That was what my doctor said. And I have been using my drugs, and I put all out effort for my job as a prime minister. And mid last month, there was some condition in my health condition, and I was short of my healthiness, and in a ulcerative colitis resurgence was emerged. Going forward, on top of the drug I'm taking, I will be taking the new drug. Earlier this week, in a checkup, there was an efficacy of the drug. It was confirmed. However, I need to have the drug administration, so I cannot lose focus on my treatment. What is most important in the politics is to deliver on the results. Since the inauguration of the administration for the 7 years and 8 months, in order to generate the outcomes, I put out all the stops for my job as a prime minister. I needed to fight against the disease and be treated, and I was not really in a perfect state in terms of the health condition. And still, I have to make political decisions, the important ones. I cannot make any mistake in terms of the important decision making. The support of the public is I have to respond to. So I'm not ready to respond to the mandate by the public. And I made a judgment. I should not continue my job as a prime minister. I decided to step down as a prime minister. The most significant challenge for us is the countermeasures against the coronavirus. We have to avoid any obstacles when it comes to fight against the coronavirus. For the past month, that was the only focus I had. I really struggled to make decisions. I see the downward trend in infection after July, and also toward the winter, the necessary measures have been put together. Therefore, under the new leadership, the challenges should be addressed, and this is the only timing where the leadership change should be happening. For the past 7 years and 8 months, we have addressed a variety of challenges. There are a lot of the challenges we haven't completed. At the same time, there are some achievements, and there are some milestones that we hit in order to respond to the mandate. All the achievements are thanks to the public and people of Japan. I really want to extend my appreciation to the people of Japan. Despite of the support, even though I have 1 year to go in my tenure, and with other challenges that have not been addressed yet, and amid the coronavirus outbreak, I decided to step down as the Prime Minister. I would like to send my apologies to the people of Japan.
I wasn't able to solve abduction issues involving Japanese nationals. It is indeed a source of regret. The peace treaty with Russia, constitutional amendment, I'm going to leave my status without achieving all of those ambitions and targets. It is indeed a regrettable thing for us, but it is a commitment made by the LDP to the people in Japan. Under the new leadership of the party, we're going to work out the new policies. We're going to have a new engine for growth and for momentum. Then those measures will be executed. Next Prime Minister, before he or she is appointed, the onus will be on me. I will take my responsibility as the Prime Minister of Japan. I go through treatment, then I'd like to regain my health again, so that I'd like to stand behind a new administration as a politician. To the people in Japan, I'd like to appreciate your support for about 8 years. Thank you very much indeed. Then we'd like to take questions from reporters. First, based on practice, we take questions from 2 coordinators, and if your name is announced, then please go to the mic. Then please state your affiliation and name, then ask your question.
Now you can ask a question. Nihon TV, Sugawara, thank you. So you decided to step down as the Prime Minister. As you said, the continuous administration of the drug will continue. Maybe you could have considered the option to serve as a Prime Minister and be treated. So I believe your health condition is very severe. Are there any necessity for you to go to the hospital continuously? So when did you make a decision to resign? And in the first administration, you needed to quit, and this is the second time for you to do that. There may be some criticism that you gave up in halfway through. How would you respond to that? Political vacuum cannot happen. How the successor can be decided? So there will be official voting. Do you think the official process should be happening, or because this is the immediate process, do you think there should be joint plenary meeting of party members? Do you have any particular person in mind that should succeed your job? You asked about the treatment of my disease, and on top of the drug with the IV, the treatment will continue. So there was a second administration, there was a health checkup, and we started to see the efficacy of the treatment. Yes, I did consider the possibility of continuing the treatment as serving as Prime Minister after June. There will be important personnel decisions to be made in September, and the diet session will be starting. There was no guarantee that my health condition would continue to be better. So that after the completion of the administration of the drug, the treatment could be over, but there's no guarantee. Amid the coronavirus outbreak, we shall not generate any political vacuum. That is why I had no choice but to resign at this particular timing. Last week and this week, I went to the hospital to receive the checkup. So that was the decision I made after the health checkup this week. It was on Monday. Yes, this is still in the middle of the tenure. I have to take those criticisms that may arise. But as I said in the beginning, in the autumn and the winter, there will be an influenza season. We put together the countermeasures for that, and those packages were put together today, and they should be implemented. Now we have more visibility to do that. And we see the downward trend of the infection. That is why I made a decision at this particular timing, the presidential election for the successor. So thinking about those timeline, this is the only timing to minimize the impact. That is why I made such a decision. As long as I serve as a Prime Minister, I take the responsibility to fight against the coronavirus. Fortunately, so the drug is very effective, so I will continue to do that for the time being. For the next president of the LDP and how next person should be elected, the senior positions will decide that. So I am not in a position to talk about that. I am not the one who should talk about who will be the next person.
Okay, let us have a question from the other coordinator. This is Imai from Yomiuri, and just now, then you said that you have done your level best to show the result. Among your achievements, by myself, and what is the legacy of the administration? Would you please show us your examples? The task to be done, the constitutional amendment, the abduction issues, and peace treaty with Russia. What are the important assignments that you'd like to pass on to your next Prime Minister? You asked a question about the legacy. It is up to the judgment of the people. I think the history will show what the legacies are. When my administration was launched 7 years and 8 months ago, the recovery of Tohoku region was a prerequisite for the recovery of Japan. I said that government is going all in to recover the damages in Tohoku area on economy. The people who like to work can work. We have to create job opportunities for people in Japan. That's quite high on agenda for my administration. Japan was haunted by deflation for 20 years. We have 3 arrows. We created jobs for more than 4 million people. Based on the fruits of the growth, and we provided the free the high school education, the nursery school education, the work style reform. Then all the people in Japan can work actively. I think we have made a step forward to achieve those achievements. For national security, on the collective self-defense, we set the peace and security legislation. We have enhanced a system to support with each other. The U.S. president went to Hiroshima. Then we had achievement. The alliance between Japan and the United States is the basis of our diplomacy to have a panoramic view of the world in our diplomacy. There are many important matters, EPA, the TPP, Japan-US trade negotiations. Japan took the initiative to create an economic bloc with freedom, and which is fair, and that's what I think. Whenever a national election was held, people gave his support to my government. My special thanks go to the people in Japan. As you said, abduction issue, the peace treaty between Japan and Russia, constitutional amendment, all of those issues carry greatest importance for the government in Japan. quite regrettably, it is indeed regrettable that those assignments are yet to be completed, but it is a commitment given by the LDP and the government to the people in Japan. So therefore, after the next strong leadership system is established, I think then my successors will try very hard to deal with those matters.
Now we take other questions. Please raise your hand when you want to ask questions. When you are called, please come up to the microphone, state your affiliation and the name, and ask questions. I think many people want to ask questions. Please ask only one question per person. Hoshino-san, please. Hoshino from Asahi Newspaper. Thank you. What is your expectation for the next administration? And there are the number of people who could be the successors, Mr. Suga, Mr. Ishiba, and Mr. Kishida. What is your personal opinions about those people? So I will be stepping down, so I should not make a whole lot of requests for the next administration. The successor, the Prime Minister, I believe, will be making utmost effort for the era we have to live with Corona and after Corona. We have laid out our visions. Those visions should be shared, and we expect the next person to achieve the results as we dealing with the new normals or new lifestyles. Japan should be a society where people are forward-looking. I don't really mention the specific names, but those people are promising policymakers. In Cabinet in LDP, I have worked with those people. So as we work together around the policies, so I think the right person will be chosen.
Okay, can we take a next question? Mr. Yoshimura, please. This is Yoshiura from Kyoto. Can I ask a question about diplomacy? Just now, you mentioned the abduction issue done by North Korea, Japan, Russia, the peace treaty negotiations. You said it is a source of regret that those matters were not achieved, including your first administration, 8 years, 8 months. When you were power, there is something you couldn't achieve. Based on your methods or practice you have done, are there any lessons that you can learn from what you have done? Do you have any expectation? Do you have any wishes on the next government or next Prime Minister? You didn't use a prompter in today's press meeting, then would you please let me know why you didn't use that device? Sorry, then, which is your most important question? Okay, prompter is being used by various leaders of various nations in the world. But today, the script was made just before my press meeting, so I had thought about what I should say. That's why I didn't use a prompter. Was there any alternative to solve the abduction issue? This is your question. I have worked very hard on that matter. It is not an easy task. That's why it remains to be solved. Various possibilities and various approaches have been considered, have been taken by myself. That's what I think. But for example, in the past, there's one thing claimed only by Japan, but this was widely internationally recognized in the world as an issue. The US president had a meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. One-on-one meeting was held between the two leaders, and the matter was mentioned. That Xi Jinping made some mention of this issue. President Moon Jae-in referred to this issue This is something we didn't see in the past, but we are yet to show a result. But I went all in to solve that matter. There are family members of those people in North Korea. They didn't see any tangible result. Then one by one, the family members have died one after another. It is indeed a source of regret for me. I always wondered whether or not there are other alternatives for us to take. Due to a diplomatic nature, I cannot disclose what the Japanese government has done to solve that issue due to the nature of that matter. But we have played all the possible cards to solve that matter. That's what I think. Thank you.
Shimizu-san, please. Mr. Shimizu, please. Shimizu from Tokyo newspaper. On a consecutive and a total days, you became the longest serving prime minister. I think there are a lot of achievements, but history will decide what was the legacy of the administration. There are speculation by the bureaucrats and falsification of the public documents. There were some negative achievements. And the finance bureau person committed suicide, and family members wants to bring the administration to account. So the public document management that could be used for the judgment of the history, and including that, do you think you held yourself accountable for those incidents? When it comes to management of the public document under this administration, the rules, the new rules will be observed. In a diet session, we spent a lot of time to discuss that, and I also answered a lot of questions. Whether or not it was sufficient, it will be decided by the people of Japan.
Okay, can we take a next question? Shigeta from Nikkei. Prime Minister Abe, you are the president of LDP, but you are the de facto leader of the Seiwakai Association group of LDP. In the LDP presidential election, I believe that you can exercise your crowd to an extent. Then how are you going to work to the election? Are you going to put your ballot and cast a ballot to the candidate, or are you going to just wait and see as the leaving prime minister? Then the succession of your policy is a requirement for your support. Okay, you asked that question. Then my Hosoda group of Seiwa Group Association, then Mr. Hosoda is the leader. Under the Hosoda, Mr. Hosoda, as a political group, there might be a discussion within the group, I think. But I'm going to resign as the president of the LDP to the next president. Whether or not I have no intention of exercising my crowd as the next LDP presidential election, I think I shouldn't do that. For constitutional amendment, there are 4 items. There are 4 items in the draft constitutional amendment. It was a decision made by the LDP. Whoever becomes the president of the LDP, it is a commitment made by the LDP. So I'm sure that he or she will work on the constitutional amendment as a commitment of the LDP to the people in Japan.
Yoshino from TV Asahi. Thank you. So you are stepping down in the middle of the tenure. I believe your health condition is severe. How are you going to involve with the politics going forward? You said you will be involved as a policy maker, but you will be former prime minister. There could be something you could do. The diplomacy with Russia and China. Are there any willingness? Are you willing to be involved in those diplomacy? What about the next, the lower house election? So how are you going to be engaged, and what are you going to do with the lower house election? You asked about what I'm going to do in the future. I try to recover my health condition as a policy maker. I want to continue my job. I would like to make utmost effort so that the policies will be implemented. For the next administration, needless to say, as one policy maker, I want to support the next administration. What exactly I'm going to do? Well, so you're asking about what will be happening. I want to utilize my experience. If there's anything I can do, I want to do that. The next lower house election, this is the decision that will be made by the voters. As one policy maker, I want to do what I can do.
Sugimoto, please. This is Sugimoto from Sankei